The Raphoe diocese covers much of Donegal. Over 4 decades there were many cases of clerical abuse. Today the diocese apologised to victims.
Insufficient emphasis was placed on the needs of victims, often in a misguided attempt to protect the reputation of the Church. There were frequent cases of delay or non-reporting of allegations and complaints about child sexual abuse. And we are truly sorry for the terrible deeds that have been inflicted on so many.
What this report has found is that there was an exceptionally high level of abuse allegations made against priests in the Raphoe diocese. So many, in fact, that it is perhaps the worst in Ireland. There are now robust child safeguarding measures in place in Raphoe, but for victims, that's come too late. From 1975 there were 52 complaints made against 14 priests. More than 20 relate to this priest, notorious paedophile Father Eugene Green. He abused boys in parishes across Donegal for over 20 years. Eventually Green was jailed for raping 26 boys. Bishop Boyce insists the Catholic hierarchy didn't know of his activities.
And that is amazing. I mean, that is amazing, and it's very hard to credit that he could have done such destruction, if you like, on young children, and that no word was ever passed along.
This abuse survivor challenged the bishop. He says victims in Donegal want a full, independent judicial review.
It didn't go far enough. I myself personally will be asking for a state inquiry into this.
These audits by the National Board for Safeguarding Children shine a light into dark places. But not everything is being revealed, and some victims question the report's independence.
It is the Church investigating the Church. I don't believe that the Church can fairly investigate the Church, particularly when the Church draw the rules. And when the Church decide what is released and what isn't released, who's available for comment, who isn't available for comment.
A separate report into the Derry diocese suggests bishops protected the Church rather than those claiming they'd been abused.
The avoidance of scandal, the preservation of the reputation of individuals and of the Church, sometimes took precedence over the safety and welfare of children. This has disgraced us.
The Derry diocese saw 26 priests face more than 30 allegations of abuse. No priest was convicted, but a number of out-of-court settlements were made. Garth Wilkinson, UTV Live.
St Patrick's Cathedral in Newry this morning, and the Bishop of Dromore addresses parishioners about the report into clerical child abuse in the diocese carried out by the National Board for Safeguarding Children in the Catholic Church. The detailed account reveals since 1975, 35 allegations have been made against 10 priests in the area. 3 of those priests have since died. The remaining 7 are described as being out of ministry or having left the priesthood. There have been no convictions.
The disclosure in report after report that children and young people had been abused in our church, and the inadequate response of church leaders have caused deep distress and dismay.
The report makes 12 recommendations about dealing with abuse allegations and survivors of abuse, many of which the Bishop says have already been implemented. Others, such as the appointment of support officers, will be put in place as a matter of urgency.
We will do everything in our power with the best resources that we have and that are available to us to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Bishop McAreevy accepts in the past more emphasis was placed on maintaining the good name of the accused priest rather than ensuring the safety of children.
What we're dealing with here is a painful chapter, unlike anything else that I've ever seen or read about in the history of the Church. What I would like people to see today is a church that has learned, a church that is learning, a church that is trying to deal with this matter openly and transparently.
Those attending the Mass said they're glad this extremely distressing issue is finally being confronted by the Church.
It wasn't so much what happened, it was the cover-up at the top that affected the people. That's what affected them. This is being dealt with now.
Well, there's lots of things to be done yet.
Well, I'm glad it's been tackled. Glad it's been tackled. It's went on a long time, like people didn't know about it.
The Bishop of Dromore says he hopes this report will give reassurance to people that things have changed, but he understands that lives have been shattered and it may take many, many years before that trust can ever be rebuilt. Jane Loughrey, UTV Live, Newry.